Good morning and welcome to your daily dose of sunshine. And literally, the sun came out this morning. I feel like I haven't seen the sun in like a month. It's been raining non-stop every single day in the nation's capital. So the sun is out and I'm really glad about that. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise Daily. I'm Kayla Magwa.
Well, I wish I could say, the same, even though the temperature is here this morning is saying 24 degrees. But what we would like to say, while it's been raining for days right there with you, in Lagos, it's pretty much rained from yesterday into today. Buttressing that comment from the NIMET that there's going to be that forecast, that there was a rain forecast, that predicted by NIMET that there's going to be heavy rains nationwide starting Monday. And it really did start early this morning in Lagos. For instance, take a look at some of the pictures we're bringing to you now, showing that there's been, the showers have begun to really show in Lagos. This is what you have in certain residential areas in parts of Lagos now, and there are videos that have come from different parts of this town. There is footage from Bako Estate, Irawo, Ajegunle, Agboike to LCDA. You see that the road there, was half done by the outgone LCDA chairman with the promise that this flooded site would be handled by the new chairman of the LCDA. Now the rains are here, and the unfinished roads is already causing floods as never seen before. All the flood from the gutters of the finished part of the road now empties into Bako. This is just one example. It'll be good for us to know from wherever you are in Lagos and in the different parts of the country. The 3-day forecast, by the way, Kayla, says that the thunderstorms on Monday is predicted in the morning in the northern parts of in Adamawa, Taraba, Sokoto, Kebbi, Zamfara, Jigawa, Kano, and Katsina, with conditions expected to intensify later in the day. Now, for Lagos, which we are talking about now, what we understand is that in the south, intermittent rainfall is predicted in states like Lagos, Rivers, Bayelsa, and Cross River. If this is intermittent rain, I wonder what is going to happen in the north, Kayla.
I know. I feel bad. But this has also been the situation in parts of the FCT. It's also been pretty embarrassing watching these sorts of situations. But, good news. The sun is out this morning. I was talking to a few people when we came in here, and they were like, oh, so-and-so person is on the way. And I said, well, they need to dry clothes today. We haven't been able to bring the children's clothes outside for a long time. So today a lot of people would have to dry a lot of the wet things that they have in their house. So yeah, 23 degrees right here in the nation's capital. And let's get to our conversations immediately. We're going to start off with tracking some major stories that have been making us a very busy few days. And joining us in the studio right now, Mr. Victor Giwa, who's the National Coordinator of the Advocates for People's Rights and Justice. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you again. So let's start off with the one that everyone has been talking about, which is our girls. Our girls doing very well, whether it's the Falcons, but this time, the Tigress. And this 10-year unbeaten run. Our girls are doing very well, and they've been crowned Afrobasket queens again.
Well, the truth of the matter is that our ladies are really doing well. We saw the Falcons, and now it is the Tigress. I think it's like we should do more, we should give more emphasis on our female sports women. Yeah. So that I think that it's like they're giving us the medals. I think government should concentrate on how to develop, expound, investment as it relates to women in sport, in universities, in schools, in primary schools, in the localities. Of course, we find out that some of these people are from abroad and all of that. Our locals should know that our females, our young girls can be encouraged to look at, not only going to school, we should also tell them that it can be developed from wherever they are. So the facilities should be provided to the local government, and government should ensure that our young girls are motivated.
I mean, watching, of course, the president is excited, and we can tell, he gets emotional with these sorts of things. It starts, of course, with the love that his wife, the First Lady, has for our female sports people. And, we're expecting, do you think there's going to be another giving that...
well,
another round of giving.
Because of the controversy the last one generated. But of course, it should not stop. Instead, they should just ensure that they do it very well, that it is reasonable, and to such an extent that it encourages other. I mean, while we are looking at the women, we are encouraging them. We should not also look down on the men. And let it go. Let it be open. Let it be broad, and let the sports sector in general be encouraged. I think those are areas that have also brought good image for Nigeria, outside all the negative things we had. The sport axis they are bringing us some very good news, and so we should the government should ensure that they sustain it and they promote it. At the risk
of getting any backlash, what is wrong? What is happening to the men's teams?
No, the competition is stiff.
Well, are you saying the competition is not stiff?
Well, it's more within the men. Of course, the challenges with men are enormous. Men have to take care of their family. Men have to look at
these women are not taking care of their family.
No, but you see, it is the immediate domain for the men in Africa's setting, and so you cannot really, They
will attack you, and I will not help you. I will not help you, but you shall be attacked for saying that. All right, let's see if we can move on. Congratulations to the Tigress, and of course, hoping that they keep doing more.
Yes.
I think all eyes are on what the president is going to do this time.
Yeah,
all eyes on what the president is going to do. And then, of course, that point you made about sports development at local levels, and you are right on the money there. A lot of these players came from outside this country. What's happening to our local talent here?
Exactly.
What's happening to the girls in the villages? What's happening to the girls who love to play football, who want to play basketball?
Exactly.
Are they getting the kind of support that they need from the...
You don't need to be abroad for you to be part of the female sport, which started from the locals.
But we'll take this win. We'll take this win. Congratulations to them.
Thank you so much.
All right, so let's move on now to another story. Let's segue into politics. Of course, Mr. Soludo. It actually started with an interview. I think that interview happened here on Channels Television. I don't know if he said it somewhere else, but I think Shehu Kimbaloye had interviewed Peter Obi, and he said he was going to do one term. The governor of Anambra State responded to that recently, saying anyone who is making that kind of promise is a bit insane. In fact, this is not the first time he's saying that. Another time he said it kind of sounds like a promise you'd make to a woman when you're with her, And then after that, Peter Obi responded and said, I'm not insane. I'm not insane. This is the promise I'm making. And he started naming some people. The problem is the people that he named got the presidency to respond, because Mr. Bayo Onanuga has posted, I think it was early this morning, where he said, well, you're not Kennedy. Kennedy did one term because he died. And, the other person, Mandela, he mentioned, who did one term because he was old. You're not exactly in the same mold as these people. What do you make of this promise of one term? Is it possible that he can deliver on that? And the biggest question, how do you want to change Nigeria's economic problems, of our value systems? How do you want to do all of that in one term?
Well, Peter Obi has been able to demonstrate that he should be believed. He has also shown that one of the narratives is trying to promote the fact that politicians should be held accountable. They should be held according to their words, and they should be good examples. And it is his personal right to bring out that narrative and promote it and also sustain it. Now, whether Soludo is looking at it from his own lens and the general lens of the politicians, politicians should not be trusted.
Well, I want to be able to, one of our guests is joining us via Zoom right now. I think we were able to secure that connection with Mr. Zubair Idris, who is the Chairman Board of Trustees of Wadata Media and Advocacy Center. He's joining us from Kaduna. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right, so since you're here and we're trying to get that connection, let's get to the topic that made us bring him here in the first place. It's got to do with the story from Niger State. Governor Bago shutting down Badeggi station, revoking their license. It's caused a lot of uproar everywhere. Everyone is speaking up against it. Everyone is telling the governor that this was the wrong thing to do. I read your statement yesterday Talk to us a little bit about this situation and the truth about Badeggi Station. Did they break any rules? What did they say, really? What was said that upset the Niger State governor so much?
Well, when you look at the media landscape in Nigeria generally, this is the midterm of this current dispensation. So a lot of politicians are up there thinking about 2027 general elections rather than delivering, some of the promises or some of the projects they are embarking upon for the benefit of the people or the citizens that they elected them. What happened in Mina, Badeggi radio closure, purported closure by Governor Umar Bago is very unfortunate. And it is something that we can say is overzealousness of the media age. It's a simple radio program. And in any media, broadcast media, there is a political guidelines. And also, whatever a radio station does or a television station does, if somebody came with some of the points that he thinks that he is trying to checkmate or to hold the public officer, either the governor or his commissioners or even the local government chairman, is being perceived as, a criticism of the government. So what happened on that program about Badeggi Radio is somebody, a member of opposition, during the flagship program of Badeggi Radio, was challenging the governor to come back to the state and also try to see that most of the projects being supervised, and he questioned the Niger food, that is the agricultural policy of Governor Umar Mahmoud Bago. So this policy is being put to test. He was asking how many how many lands, how many hectares are being cultivated this year? What amount of money being expended? And he capped it all and said that in the coming 2027 general elections, he mentioned a name, that is the former FIRS boss, Mohamed Nami, that he is qualified, that he should come out and challenge Umar Mohamed Bago. He also went further to challenge Bago that, Bago should now look at what has been happening in the state, the security situation in the state. A lot of things happened in the last 3 weeks. Killing of the security forces, blockade of road between Badeggi and Fantagora, and what happened in Rijo before later on, when the security forces, were able to intercept the movement of these bandits and kill a lot of them, elaborated the Rijau town. This is what I said. That is not this. But you rather, police or SS, submit to the commissioners of police, so that they can now hold the person who make this kind of questions as a kind of integrity test for the government of Umar Bago. So therefore, we, the journalists in Niger State, supposed to hold these people, the governor, accountable, because this is what is entrenched in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The Constitution empowered journalists, either radio or television or print, to hold public officers accountable and also to account themselves. It's there written boldly. Radio broadcast media is the National Broadcasting Commission. So it is National Broadcasting Commission that licenses all the radio and television stations, and also they are the one who regulates their activities. So if you feel aggrieved, you will now send whatever you have to the National Broadcasting Commission, just like what the Minister of Information has said. And It is the National Broadcasting Commission that will look at from the beginning to the end, nothing incremental or nothing that that is somehow that they are putting the government against the government, the people against the government. Nothing like that. It's just all those things that I mentioned that was what we mentioned in that program. I believe, since it is a political forum,
my colleague in Lagos, Mr. Zubair,
the journalists are not there. Yeah.
My colleague in Lagos would have a few questions for you as well, because this is a very serious situation, and one that even the Minister of Information has said was a wrong move by the governor, and everyone is calling him out on this one. I think maybe they have to do something about it immediately, so that trust in this democracy that we say we're practicing can be entrenched in the hearts and minds of all of us. But my colleague in Lagos, Ayo, has a few questions for you. Go ahead, Ayo.
Well, thank you so much, Kayla. Let me take it first of all to the lawyer among us, Mr. Giwa. Excuse me. One of the things that, and I know that one of the issues that we would like to take up with you, Mr. Giwa, is the issues around, the legality or otherwise of what the governor has done, which of course is still getting a number of people talking, and there have been reactions all over the place. It's only the governor's office that says this is a good idea. But the angle that I'd like to take it up with you, Mr. Giwa, is this. The governor of Niger State gave that order, and I think the police had that instruction, and the apparatus around the governor in Niger State has, they were there, and some of them probably went immediately to execute what the governor said. Can you speak to us about the legality of that? I mean, the Nigeria police reports to the IGP, and consequently they should be taking the instructions from the IGP, so to speak, and consequently they should be upholding federal laws. Someone should have known at least that Mr. Governor, or whatever they call His Excellency, I mean, it's really within your purview. Before that outcry would, come out on him, what do you think should have happened? Or do you think the police were, if they eventually indeed executed what the governor said, do you think they were within their rights to obey what the governor said? Mr. Giwa, that's for you. Just hold on, sir. It's for Mr. Giwa in the...
I was very shocked.
Just a second, sir. The question is for Mr. Giwa.
Governor of Niger State.
Just 1 second.
It needs to be established that the right, the freedom of expression, the freedom to hold opinion, the freedom to receive and impact ideas without interference under Section 39, Sub 1 of the 1999 Constitution is a fundamental right. It is the fundamental right of any person to hold opinion, to express and impact ideas, without interference, to own media organizations for the purpose of receiving and disseminating information. That is Section 39, Sub 2. Sub 3 talks about the fact that it is subject to, in a democratic society, to those laws that are reasonable in a democratic society. That section 39, 1, 2, 3 is also contained in Article 9 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. Now, if there is any action, if there is any act done by a station, a media house, against the government, because why it is the fundamental right of any person to hold opinion and disseminate information and impact ideas, that particular right under Section 3 is not absolute. I need to state that. It is not absolute. It is subject to national security, public order, and morality. And every other laws that are reasonable in a democratic society. And what does it mean? It means that why the media houses have that right to pass information, impact ideas, disseminate information, it must also be done within the confines of the law to guide against defamation, sedition, cyberstalking, and all of that. I must put that in perspective. However, if the governor or the government of Niger State believes that that particular radio station has made comments, pass information, disseminate information that is against the government, there are modalities. You need, first of all, to put a complaint to that station.
Mr. Giwa, I
if you
hear
want, you have the right to bring
just 1 second,
civil
Mr.
defamation against. And we have seen
Mr.
a lot
Giwa,
of that.
just 1 second,
Governor
because
of Ondo State versus
this is what everyone who has commented. Just 1 second.
Authorities where
Mr. Giwa, just 1 second.
State,
just 1 second. If you can
media
hear me.
houses to the...
Just 1 second, Mr. Giwa, if you can hear me. That fact has been established by everyone who has commented on this matter. The question I'm asking you is, when the governor gave that order, some people may have gotten up immediately to go shut down the place. And some people have also been instructed to mark the building for demolition. The question I'm asking is, the people who received that order, shouldn't they know that it wasn't within the ambit of the governor to make that order, and for them to obey that order is also against the Constitution? That's the question I'm asking you.
Where I'm going, and that's where I'm going. So immediately the governor, first of all, does not have that right to immediately ask for the closure of that station. And those policemen, I need to state it, every security agent or officers attached to public officers, their number one primary objective is for the protection of the person of the governor and not to enforce law for the governor. If not, anybody, if the governor does not like you, you can send the police, shoot him. Okay. No. So every security agency or officers, whether it is the DSS, whether it's the NIA, whether it's the police, that is attached to political office holders, their duty is for the immediate protection of the person of the governor.
Okay.
So it is not within the rights of the police officers, the DSS, or whatever security agency attached to the governor to execute a verbal order of the governor.
Okay.
The governor is not an... It's not
we don't have much time on this conversation.
Mr.
Giwa, that fact is established. We appreciate it. Just 1 second.
Colonial
just 1 second. Yes. That is noted. That is noted. Let me quickly ask. Just 1 second, Mr. Giwa.
It is unconstitutional.
It is noted. That is noted. That is established.
For the police to immediately go.
Just 1 second, Mr. Giwa. Just 1 second. Mr. Idris, very, very quickly, we don't have much time on this conversation. There are a few institutions that have been set up. The Nigeria Institute of Journalists, the Union of Journalists is there, the Editors Guild is there, and then there's the Society of Nigerian Broadcasters. And then there's, of course, this Arewa, Broadcasters Union and all of that. Do you see a role, a self-regulatory role, both for the organization and for the individuals? Because it is within the right, as Mr. Giwa said, it's within the right of anyone to hold an opinion, rightly or wrongly. But it is the responsibility of the journalist to ensure that whatever opinion is being spoken or given by anyone in public space, such as a national television or wherever, that person should be able to call in or rein in the guest and say, you don't have the right to say that because the fellow you are speaking against is not there. What do you say about the self-regulation activity or otherwise of our colleagues in Badeggi FM?
Makinde, we're in democracy. Democracy, the flavors are the people. And the people are those who normally try to reach the media to air their views. Well, the media is the additives to the democracy. From the media, we have, guidelines in which we discharge our responsibility. I'm a media owner. I have a radio station in Mina, also, just like Badeggi. And this, programs that we're having, we tailor our program towards, the people. And so in the event when the government is not, taking cognizance of what the people are saying, and when people have the right to ask, the government to account for whatever is the government is doing, and the government is not ready to listen. In the event, when the government has an activities and journalists, the local journalists are not, invited, and they only be given a press releases, so they have to have a way to investigate and also bring those factual information. So we, at our own level, apart from all the MBC codes that we have that guide us in our activities, there are self-regulatory issues. Apart from our editorial policies and what have you, our judgment, the IBAN, Independent Broadcasters Association of Nigeria, and the Society of Broadcasters, as you mentioned, and also the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, gave us a lot of guidelines in which we discharge our activities without making injurious, statement or comment on any issues. So therefore, we have this and we continue. The government is coming out to give the journalists what they deserve or what they are asking for. We won't have this kind of scenario where Badeggi Radio will be threatened. Okay. As a matter of fact, they were threatened. The police didn't carry any other thing. They didn't carry any order from him, from the governor, and Badeggi remained open. They have been carrying out their, programming without any molestation. The only thing is the threat, on the media cycle, and also the urban development board that went into where Badeggi Radio is and marked it for demolition and asked them to come this very morning so that they will now discuss with them. So how can, an agency of government intrude into a premises where Badeggi Radio is situated? Is a public broadcast station.
Well, it's definitely, just a second, Mr. Idris. There are so many issues to raise on that matter that you have, brought up, because quite a number of issues that you have raised. On the one hand, it's also gratifying to know, as you said, that Badeggi, Radio is still pretty much on air, but for that order to have come and some people to execute it, that is what would be really out of place. Just one quick one. Let me take this very quickly to Mr. Giwa in our Abuja studio. Now, there are a number of other issues that I would love to raise with you on this matter, but I know that we are running out of time and Kela would want to take over. But there is this one other issue. There is this comment that's been making the rounds between the president and the national, I beg your pardon, between the president, the U.S. government, and everyone is talking to the governors and asking them, look, guys, you need to do more for your state, for your people, and all of those things. What is your take on that comment from the president directly to the governors, telling them, guys, you need to be more, responsible towards your people? The U.S. government is saying, these governors, they have been a lot more profligate than is plausible. What are your thoughts on that? And how do you expect the Nigerian governors to react to that statement?
Well, I think that the president of the country has right to talk to his governors, some of whom are members of his own political party, as people who are moving the agenda.
Just one second, Mr. Giwa. When you say his governors, I think we need to moderate that.
Look, you need to be.
Are they his governors?
And I want
Mr. Giwa, just one second. Just one second, Mr. Giwa.
With respect to the
Mr. Giwa, if you can hear me, just one second. Let's be clear of what you just said. You said the governor has a right to speak to his the president has a right to speak to his governors. I think they might take exception to that, don't you think? Are they his governors, constitutionally speaking? Mr. Giwa, can you hear me?
Against the people, that every policies of government must be people-centric, must be intended to empower the people, promote the people, and not to threaten the people. So it's a very good thing that the president is encouraging the governor to ensure that their policies are people-centric. The policy should be such that promotes the interests of the people that have voted them, and make sure that the government themselves become accountable to the people.
Yeah, I think that's a very important point to make, and we are getting some conversations here from people in Niger State telling us that the radio is still running, of course, that they're still running even right now. The radio station is still on, but the threat, of course, is the reason why everyone is speaking up, because press freedom is a very important part of what we do as a people. Before we go, we started off by talking about the the situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Just in 1 minute, you can wrap us up on that one so we can wrap up this segment.
About Peter Soludo.
Yes, Soludo and Peter Obi, and of course, Bayo Nanuga, who has responded this morning.
I think that they should allow Peter Obi to make his position, and they should respect his position. It is very possible, it is very wrong for Governor Soludo to think that, that whoever makes that comment should be examined. He has his right to do that. If you want to go to the second time, even if the people are saying go for second time, Peter Obi has the right to say no. I'm not going to go for second time. I give my word, and I want to start my words.
That'll be something to watch. I want to thank you very much, Mr. Victor Giwa, for being with us this morning. Of course, Mr. Zubair Idris for being with us there via Zoom from Kaduna. Thank you very much for your insights and your conversations, and good luck with all the work you all have ahead of you.
Thank you for having us.
We do have an update. We have a message here from an official of Niger State. And then, of course, they're saying basically what this statement is saying is that they're going to be listening to what the Minister of Information had to say and all the advice. The governor says he will be listening to all the advice that has been given to him, and that he will be looking into that situation. So I'm thinking that today might be the day that he might give a statement responding to all of the criticism that he's been getting on this particular matter. But we have to move on to something else right now. Joining us in the studio, looking at transportation safety, and we're looking at safety, road, well, not roads really, rail, air, and sea. And some set of regulations that have come out from the NSIB. And they're going to be talking about those regulations in a bit, talking to us about what it is that needs to be done, what these different sectors can do. And 3 rules really have come out. So they had a stakeholders engagement during the week. But don't let me be the one to give you all the information. Joining us in the studio live right now is Joining us in the studio live right now is Captain Alex Badeggi Jr., the Director General and CEO of the Niger Safety Investigation Bureau, NSIB. Thank you so much for being with us on the program.
Thank you for having me this morning.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the National Safety Investigation Bureau. These regulatory details, these three of them, why was it necessary to come up with those 3 right now?
Again, like before you investigate any accident, there must be a playbook for it. This would be the playbook for any of these investigations, I mean, it's things that weren't in these other segments, i.e. rail and maritime, key things like notification times, kinds of accidents that we need to get notified about, structured evidence protection, who is in charge of this evidence or wreckage or a crime scene when these things happen. As you know, in Nigeria, there might be certain rules, but when there's an accident, it's the free-for-all. In aviation, it's always been a bit more structured, but with maritime, with rail, sometimes you have people there pilfering, picking up. You have multiple agencies jostling for who's in control.
How was it done before?
Well, in these other modes?
Well, because now the revised Civil Aviation Investigation of Air Accidents and Incidents Regulation draft, that's one.
Well, that one, I'll talk about that one.
Okay,
that's
and then
revised.
the Maritime Safety Investigation and Regulations draft, and the Railway Investigation of Accidents and Incidents Regulation draft. So these are the 3 that we heard from in that stakeholders engagement. Before these 3 that you've come, and you're asking people to weigh in. How was it done before?
Well, let's talk about the air. The air, the air regulations are already a thing. It's just we revised them. Again, there's always changes. So this is just slight revisions here and there, And of course, it's a draft because we asked the stakeholders to chime in and give us their thoughts on it. They've had these documents already prior to the unveiling at the workshop, but that's just a more wider audience. So again, that's almost a window dressing the way I see it, because they've already had these drafts and they've chimed in. So for the air, again, that's already its own thing. It's just an update to that. But for the rail and maritime, of course, we've not had any regulations around these accident investigations. So this is the first real comprehensive one from an agency that's mandated to investigate these things.
I mean, which is very interesting, especially the fact that we have a lot of boat accidents. We've been seeing a lot of those happening. We're even seeing state governments weighing in on them. In fact, I took my time to actually get down a lot of those recent boat accidents. 37 people died in 6 days.
37?
Yes.
I'm unaware.
37 people died in 6 based on the reports. And I'll give you the places: Zangon, Maje, in Jigawa,
Yeah.
9 people. Gasol local government area in Taraba, 3 people. Shiroro in Niger State, 25 people died
No.
in that one.
Well, Shiroro was 13 people, actually.
It was 13?
13 people that died in Shiroro.
13?
So sometimes, yeah, 13, 1 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, with these situations, shocking that there wasn't a modus operandi really before. So with these situations right now, especially with these boat mishaps, how are these new regulations going to help with the investigations? And the president did say that these reports should be coming out faster.
Yes. Again, in aviation, you know, we got a prelim 30 days and usually the final in 12 months, unless they're extenuating circumstances. So with these maritime ones, most of the time you don't get any reports.
Yeah.
And if there are no reports out there, people don't learn. Sometimes people know the causes. You know, like NIWA, who are the regulators, they do some investigation. The maritime police do some investigation. Remember, these people aren't trained in investigation, in the art of accident investigation, in reconstruction and all that. So with these regulations, most importantly, they set a guideline for collaboration. Because now we all have the same playbook to work by. We know who's responsible for what. There's a clear, you know, delineation of responsibilities, and it allows for collaboration between everybody. And then remember, with the NSIB, our investigations are non-punitive. So this is, we're trying to create a just culture as well with these investigations where people are not scared of being penalized for anything. Because we get these, we always hear, oh, who's going to get punished? And the NSIB's job is not to punish. It's to investigate and put these reports out there. So hopefully people learn and it doesn't reoccur again.
That's a very important point to make. It's not punitive, but you know how the Nigerian people are. We want to be able to hold somebody responsible when these sorts of things happen. So when people learn from the report, there's no...
Yeah, unfortunately,
no actual investigations that leads to arrests. We need to punish somebody.
That's a judicial process.
If there's no link, it doesn't. You don't send your reports to the judiciary or to the police.
They're public. So if the police or the judiciary decides they want to go and punish someone that is bad, we just investigate and put the facts out there, as they may be.
When it comes to air crashes, we've not had any crashes, but we've had a lot of near misses.
Yeah.
Skidding off the runway,
yes.
You know, and things like that. These new rules, how is it going to help the situation? Because in many cases, are these things that could have been helped? There was one I was reading about where it was algae on the runway. That yes, it was
the value jet, I think.
Yes, the value jet one. You know, so there's a lot of extenuating circumstances. How are these new regulations going to help? You know, stop these near misses, because even if we've not gotten the accident, we don't want an accident. So the near miss is a bit scary.
But regulations, again, like I say, they set a guidebook for everybody. More than anything, what's going to help is our safety recommendations. So after the investigation, the recommendations we'll put out is what helps these aviators, again, rail operators or boat operators, not reoccur. Of course, when we put them out there, we expect that the regulators, i.e. the NCA for aviation, NIWA for inland waterways, NRC for the rail, and NIMASA for the high seas, we're expecting that they will take these safety recommendations and ensure that they're enforced. They're the ones who go there to enforce these things.
Yeah.
So,
when it comes to railways, I think one of the questions people had was the kind of security along.
Yeah, it's unfortunately our country being the way it is. I mean, this was discussed last week. People steal off the tracks and all that. So it's, there's a culture too here where we do things that we don't necessarily need to. People pilfer, they take the metal to go smelt to do other things. So it's a whole culture, and hopefully, as we educate, the NOA talks to people, the NRC talks to people. It's just to get us to get out of this mindset of pilfering these tracks, because it's very porous.
Yes.
All the way there, little isolated stretches, people start to steal things, and these causes problems.
It's quite shocking. The FCT minister, I think at some point he said it was time to start charging these people with economic sabotage as opposed to just giving them warnings and things like that. Before I talked to my colleague in Lagos, there's been talk about the NSIB leaving the Ministry of Aviation and moving to the SGM's office.
That's beyond my pay grade. I don't know anything of that sort. We work wherever we are, and we're working very well in the Ministry of Aviation. So, again, I was appointed to a job, and I do my job.
Aviation, pass you to my colleague in Lagos. Ayo has a few. Go ahead, Ayo.
Thank you, Kayla. Perhaps one place I'd like to begin with you, Captain, is whether or not you think we have enough infrastructure in place to prevent these accidents. I think that's one place I'd like us to begin the conversation. Do you think we have enough parameters, structures, infrastructure to prevent some of the accidents that you have to investigate?
It is, yes. Infrastructure, we all know there's an infrastructure deficit in Nigeria. I mean, this infrastructure is not cheap. You know, these things cost a lot of money. I mean, I could go to rail. If you compare us to, say, America or Europe, they've had their rail structures for hundreds of years, and some of it was built on slave labor. Right now, the cost of doing those things is astronomical because you must pay people a living wage. So I wouldn't say we have the infrastructure, but parameters, yeah, the parameters are the human, you know, the human factor in there, the training. You know, we do have the people here. We're training more and more people, and we're doing more sensitization at the NSIB for all of this. So the parameters are there, human-wise. But infrastructure, I'll say there's an infrastructure gap just everywhere in Nigeria, or a deficit everywhere in Nigeria.
Also underscores, Captain, they need to look at some other angles to it, and here is what I mean. I've had to, on this program, ask former Minister of I think aviation, like, look, you are creating infrastructure, you are building airports, you are upgrading this, you are upgrading that. I think it was Minister of Transport. You're doing this, you're doing that. And you're doing this after so many decades. Just as you said, there's this deficit because we haven't really maintained them well enough over time. Now, another one is about to go on at the airports in Lagos. And I know that you know that there's been quite some revamp, particularly around the rail lines all over the country. Now, in terms of, because the concern for me is the prevention. Because if we are able to create enough, whatever it is we need to prevent these things, we'll have minimal loss of lives, minimal loss of infrastructure, minimal loss of property. So can you speak to not just the infrastructure gap, but the deficit we have in prevention of these dilapidations and the maintenance culture that we have? What are the gaps we have, particularly in the area of maintenance, to ensure we don't get to this point of talking about infrastructure gap over the next 30, 40 years again?
See, maintenance culture, it cuts across all facets of, I think, the Nigerian society. You know, we tend to have this habit of, oh, I'll get to it tomorrow. You know, we don't have a sense of urgency to fix these things here because, you know, there's always one excuse or the other. And, of course, timely, which is why we at the NSI, we talk about timely release of these safety recommendations and reports. That's one way to go about it. Again, I always talk about sensitization and collaboration. You know, people need to be sensitized. The users of this infrastructure need to be sensitized. Even the people, National Assembly, everybody needs to be sensitized with the cost of all these things. Because a lot of these things come at a huge cost because we're a net importer of a lot of things. We don't manufacture these things here. So even with the airports, with the discourse around the cost of the upgrade of that infrastructure, airports are a big business. They cost a lot of money. And of course, you know, just the value of our currency, you know, we see these big billions and, you know, there's, you know, that apprehension, you know, correctly or incorrectly, but it just does not change the fact that these things need to be done. And like you said, you know, we need to change our culture. You know, our culture needs to change, you know, with maintenance and all these things, because these infrastructure belongs to all of us. So even the average Nigerian who sees something going wrong should speak up. If you see something, say something. Don't just see things happening and, you know, just keep quiet. I'm glad for social media right now where, you know, people record things and point out because it points to, you know, these issues, and hopefully everybody involved can investigate and look at the root causes for this, you know, dilapidation to our infrastructure. But again, it's not just on the NSIB's part. It's all of us as a collective, as citizens in the country.
I'm hoping that, Captain, that you'll be able to speak to at least what things that we need to do I mean, you've spoken to the infrastructure upgrade at the airports, for instance. Let's take that instance. Former President Obasanjo, when he returned in 1999, lamented the fact that 20 years before he came back in 1999, he handed over a federal government with 20 aircrafts under a Nigeria Airways company. And he came back 20 years after, they're all gone. Speaks to what you just said. Poverty over culture of maintenance. So now we're going to spend almost, I don't know, ₦1 trillion to revamp or upgrade these airports as well. If you could advise, or if you would counsel, if you had the authority, what safety measures would you recommend, or what maintenance culture would you recommend be infused into this upgrade? And what punitive measures would you also recommend that can help us to align in terms of maintaining a culture of maintenance so that we don't, again, come back to where we are?
Again, I'm not a punitive person, so I will not discuss punitive measures. That's not, my trade. But safety, of course, I would use the aviator in me. We have safety management systems in aviation. You have continuous maintenance action plans, or action maintenance plans as well in aviation. So it's the same thing with all these things. It's a continuous process. There should be a plan, continuous action maintenance plan for this infrastructure. Safety management systems, again, just putting things in place. It's all about systems. And like I say, collaboration. It's people. Because it's all human beings at the end of the day. So as long as you train them, you infuse that culture in them every day. It's all training. This is all training. Sometimes people think training or mandatory training is just a bore. It's an avenue to go collect government money. That's not what it is. You actually go and learn. And the world keeps changing. Conferences, workshops. Surprisingly, you go learn new things every day. So you run an airport, there are airport workshops and conferences all over the world. So people that run these infrastructure should be exposed to all these things, regularly. And like I said, again, safety management systems in the airport and just the continuous action.
To maintain action. Yeah. I think that's a very important point. The fact that this is something that has to continue.
It needs to continue. Yes.
So as we wrap up, just your well, you're not punitive at all. Yeah. but talk to the people in these sectors and why the maintenance culture we have to be able to preserve what it is that we have, so we don't spend money on things that we could have prevented from being spoiled. Yeah. So could you talk to them as the head of the NSIB and what they should be having at the back of their minds when they see these government infrastructure, especially when it comes to our transport systems? Well,
first thing I'll say, it's their money. It's the taxpayer money. So if you let your own money go, it's like your own house. You live there. Just because you don't live there every day, it is your resource. It's a collective resource of the people. So you see something going wrong, speak up, try to maintain it, try to keep it. Like I say, I talk about collaborative, just culture. It should be, that's why I try to be non-punitive, or we say we're non-punitive. It's a just culture. It should be, people should be able to speak up. Even when they make a mistake, they should say, hey, I made a mistake here, and it shouldn't be, why did you do this, or you're no good. It's okay, you made a mistake, let's see how we can remedy this and prevent it from happening.
Thank you so much, Captain Alex Badeggi Jr., DG, CEO of Nigeria Safety Investigation Bureau, for being with us this morning and for all of your insights. Good luck with all the engagements you have ahead of you.
Thank you for having me.
And that is Sunrise Daily this morning. For now, this is us saying goodbye. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Kayla Megwa. Enjoy the rest of your day.
And I'm Ayo Makide. Have a good one.